Welcome back, Mail-In Podcast listeners worldwide, wherever you are, Canada, United States, Mexico, associated territories, maybe even Europe. I'm your host, Brett Merriman. To my right, the lovely, vested out today, frat, Sally deFries. What is up, Sal?
I'm so tired.
Or Srat, I guess.
Do what?
Srat.
Oh.
The not monogrammed Yeti, but
My personalized
Yeti. No big
This
deal.
is the first thing I grabbed just getting out of my house. I needed water, and I need someone to inject so much caffeine just straight into me.
I'm going. This is my second Celsi of the day, so we're gonna go up around 400 milligrams of caffeine way.
Yeah, I had 2 Americanos this morning, and I'm like, it's not even touching me.
No shit. We're tired boys.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I literally, you started the intro and I was like, I think I just kind of fell asleep. Just like while sitting here.
I fall asleep when Brett talks too. So
It's a real endorsement of the show that I already have
the soothing
done micro naps just before we've even begun.
Dulcet tones of my voice. There's Randy Trimbacki behind the mic over there, producer
Hi,
Mike
Brett.
Randy. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, you tired? You tired, pup too?
Nope. I did a little caffeine. I'm off a hot episode of Retail Therapy. It was quite entertaining. So tune into that on Sunday.
Check it out if you're interested. Something if you're interested in the intersection of style and pop culture.
That was technically Club Cool's old thing, but yeah, sure. They could just use that now too. Club Cool doesn't exist.
There you go. Sally, what's going on? How's things? I heard your son wants a skateboard.
Yeah. I don't know if Will's like just whispering that into his ear so that he wants a skateboard, but he also has a scooter and a bike that he never rides, both of them. So, and he thinks the scooter is a bike. He keeps calling it his purple bike. The scooter's blue. So
Yeah,
you got to work on colors.
We got to work on colors and objects.
And objects.
It's weird. Fritz was telling me he wanted some like Manchester United tickets too. Like,
yeah, it's so weird. I don't know.
It's funny. He also wants knee hockey sticks, and Uncle Brett is going to get those for him.
We have too much shit in our house. We don't need any of those things. But I told Will that if he wants to get him a skateboard, that's fine. He also needs to get all the stuff. The knee pads, the wrist
guards, knee pads, whatever
pads.
We're doing these days. I remember going when I would go rollerblading. You had the wrist guards with like the big,
the thing,
the protector, elbows, knees, head, shoulders, knees, toes.
One of my friends who's like a surgeon my age.
Oh boy,
you got a skateboard for Christmas for herself.
No,
she's got kids that are my age too, by the way, and she went to a skateboarding class, and it was like her and like 2 5-year-olds.
Hold on, surgeon who's. You said
she's like 35.
Okay, has kids, and she went
got
to a skateboard class, and it was
Christmas.
her and 5-year-olds.
I think a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, should Fritz join you in skateboard class?
I'll tell you what. I think he's coming up on 4, right?
Yeah.
4 or 5 is right about the time you get on hockey skates, get on skis, you get on a skateboard, and at least like have balance to know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of in that neighborhood. Charlie's probably a little young for a.
I don't have balance, so I don't have horrible balance.
Are you athletic?
No.
Okay.
No.
How's the hand-eye?
Horrible. I think Will would like really. He thinks that our children are gonna inherit my athletic prowess.
Okay. As far as the hand-eye coordination goes.
You know, I don't have hand-eye coordination. I'm not even gonna say that I was athletic. I'm not athletic. Nor am I toned. This is just like a mass of just ligaments walking around. But I am coordinated in another sense of like that I can like keep account. You know what I'm saying? Like in a beat. But that's not really
your
athletic.
mental coordination is good.
Yeah.
It's the physical coordination that's like, it's not bad. It's just
I don't really ever care.
We just meaty part of the bell curve, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was athletic in the sense that I could like dance and I was a cheerleader, but it's like a different type of athleticism than like, sprinting.
Bring it on.
Or like playing volleyball.
Those were just out in your experience?
I didn't really care.
You would go in gym class and you would bunt the kickball and just kind of like stroll to first base.
Kickball, softball, like gave me so much anxiety. I did not like going up to bat. I would just stand there and like strike out and be like, sorry.
Yeah. Hey, that's on me.
I just, I don't.
So no Austin Sports Social adult leagues?
No.
Okay.
Actually,
They're
that's false.
fun.
We did it.
They are fun. I'm gonna stand up for.
We played dodgeball when I was like immediately post grad in Austin, or we were technically still. I was in my 5th year. It was horrible because
it was just target practice,
and then it was just me left over, and I'd be like, "Why is everything falling to me?" Like, and these people took shit seriously. Like I was just like, whatever. We're here for the like happy hour afterwards. People were way too, and like I'm competitive, but. I'm competitive in shit that I know that I can win at.
Right.
Dodgeball is not one of those things.
No, not going to be high on the list.
No.
Maybe a board game, but dodgeball?
Yeah, no. And it's hard for me to decide if like that's something I want for my kids, you know? Like Fritz, we signed him up for soccer in the fall. He did not go out on the field voluntarily one time.
Right.
And more so than anything, it's like I don't care, but it's more that I'm like paying and that he's like throwing a fit, which is like more frustrating.
Of course, yeah.
And it was like the last game, he was just running and playing soccer with one of his teammates' siblings on the field next to ours, but he wouldn't go play
on his designated field.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so there's something to work with there, but we just got to...
I think Fritz will excel in individual sports, but I also think that that's Will and I's personalities is like, it's not that I'm not a team player because I do think I was like the person who was pretty decent at group projects and like obviously am a chief now. Like I'm a leader in that sense, but like I don't care about being on team sports. Mostly because I know that I don't add anything to it. Right? Like so then I'm like, I don't even want to like try because I'm gonna just bring the team down.
Gotcha. Okay.
You don't want me on your beer league softball
Sally's in
team.
line. Just don't pick me.
Don't pick me. Seriously.
Randy and I played on a beer league softball team.
Right. Like
it's true.
I played beer league
like,
hockey to this
hockey
day.
thing is like my nightmare. That's like
the boys
people depending on me for things that I can't do is probably one of my biggest anxieties.
I feel bad. I'm currently hurt.
Yeah.
That would be fun if I got my surgery and you're the one knocking me out. Because I would assume it's at a hospital in the network. But it sucks that I can't help the team out. It's like bringing me down that I cannot play.
See, I think the most sports that I want to interact with, besides like watching, is like being part reading like a sports romance novel. That's like that's what I want.
It always comes back to the smut novels, guys.
Yeah.
Like the ones. What's the one? The really popular ones now are like fan goes to hockey game and meets player afterwards and falls in love.
I literally sent this to. We're taking Fritz to a hockey game on Saturday.
Yeah, I've heard.
By we, I mean me.
Right.
Because
Lions playoff game.
And to be fair, I said this last week that like the Lions are really what I'm like riding for right now. And I called that correctly because UT lost. So we booked this. It was like a bunch of people at the hospital are going.
Nice.
So, and I frequently, sorry if you are listening and I work with you, flake on these things. And I'll be like, yeah, I'll totally go. And then I just don't go.
Wait a second. We work with you.
And so I really have like, I gotta like step up and actually go to this thing. So it was me, Will, and Fritz. We're gonna like leave Charlie at home by himself, you know, see what trouble he gets into. And then I realized that the Lions game was on at the same time. So Will's like, I'm not going. And I'm like, understandable, totally get it. It's not like we're gonna stay the whole time anyway. I don't think Fritz is gonna last 3 periods, but I did send this to my friend. And this is truly how I feel about hockey. I've never been to a hockey game in my life.
Oh my God. Sally, you're gonna have so much fun. It's awesome.
This is the quote. My husband and I are taking our kids to a hockey game, and if one of the players isn't forced to kiss the woman he's fake dating to repair his bad boy reputation in front of an entire audience, I'm asking for a refund. That is what I want from this hockey game.
Hey, you look around there, you'll see some stuff. You'll see some super fans. You might see a fight on the ice.
I know, but is one of like the bad boy captains of the team dating a girl
probably.
that's like a fake relationship because they like have to do so for PR purposes, but actually he's really loved her for 7 years without her knowing.
Very well could be. You're gonna see some girls in their aloe and his jersey on.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah. Just soak it in. It's a great time.
How warm do I need to dress for a hockey game?
55 to 60. So light jacket. It's not like cold. The ice is cold, but they refrigerate it from beneath, so you're good.
Okay.
Just it's light jacket.
So my lion sweater.
You'd be fine in what you're wearing right now.
Okay.
Throw Fritz in a little, just maybe a touch warmer than you think, and he doesn't need a winter coat though, by any means.
Okay.
And the beers are like $2, so if you're dabbling.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see. Go Texas Stars, I guess.
Go Texas Stars, and if you're really into the Lions game this weekend, you can bet on it with our friends over at DraftKings. Sally, playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning the playoffs. Everybody knows that. You can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. If you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. For example, Bills playing Sunday. You can bet on Josh Allen to not score a touchdown himself.
I would bet on that.
I would too.
Would take that bet.
Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Big showdown. People are saying the game of the year.
People said the same thing about the Bills versus the Lions, to be fair.
I made a mean buffalo chicken dip for that. And bet with our friends over at DraftKings. I believe the Chiefs line is -8 right now against the Texans. It's going to be a cold one in Arrowhead. Might take the favorite there. Lay the points. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying I might. Here's the deal. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WASHED. That's code WASHED for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Would you mind leading off, Sal? I'm going to regroup.
Brett and Sally, when planning a bachelor or bachelorette trip, what do you think is the fairest way to determine who gets each room or bed? I'm renting a big Airbnb lake house in Michigan for my bachelorette party of 10 to 14 girls, and some rooms are clearly better than others. For example, one room has a king-size bed, another has 2 bunk beds, another has 2 queen beds, etc. Should the organizer try to ask for everyone's preference or have a free-for-all once everyone arrives? As the bride, I would feel guilty taking the best room, but I know that's often the norm.
I think this is easy, and then it gets convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
It's bride/groom gets best room. Then the credit card holder, whoever put the Airbnb on their tab, gets the second best room, or at least the choice of the room. And then it's sort of a free-for-all from there.
Yes, this is why I hate, this is why I would be the Thursday person who shows up and then be the first person to leave, because not having a bed is like my biggest anxiety. Like, first of all, please make sure people have beds. If everyone has a bed, people just need to not bitch.
People can suck it up for 2 nights.
Right.
If you have a bunk bed, fine.
But going somewhere and knowing I'm going to be late and now I have to sleep on the fucking ground or couch really sucks, because you're paying to be somewhere. The ones that have worked out best, because we've done the free-for-all. I've also done assigned rooms. When we did assigned rooms, I think it worked out best because people didn't bitch, and it being doled out by the bride In our case, it wasn't really the bride. It was me and my friend who planned the whole thing because both of her maids of honor were like young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was 20 people. We were in that house, but we were in like little villas in Mexico. Anyway,
Okay.
that's beside the point. Each of them was like a 3-bedroom little villa situation. And it was like master bedroom, another like king size bedroom, and then like one room that had like 2 queen beds that like 3 people were going to share.
Okay.
So always bride or groom gets the best room.
Designated. Yeah.
But in my opinion, especially given it depends on the amount of like people that are needed. Usually, at least for girls, that's like the bride and the maid of honor.
Yeah. Girls, you can split a king bed, no problem.
Right.
Yeah. And guys can split a king bed, no problem.
Personally, for
Queens
me,
get tight.
I am the type, and I don't know how this is for guys. I think for girls, it's more like if I'm being thrown into a situation that's like not all my friends. So it's like some college friends, some high school friends, you got the work person, you got a cousin. I am going to be most comfortable with somebody that I know.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So to make it the most equitable and like comfortable for everyone, I think doling out rooms
By
is
familiarity it definitely makes sense for sure.
right. You don't need to like show favoritism. I would almost just be like, especially it's a little different. I feel like when you have hotel rooms, this is easier to like pair people up.
Totally. Yeah.
Because then you're like,
Hey.
they're all equal.
Mm-hmm.
I would just pair people up and then be like, pick whichever room when y'all get there and let it be a free for all.
That's
So
I don't,
that at least
I
you
don't hate
take out the anxiety of like your friend Kara showing up and like not knowing anybody.
That's very fair. If you and Kara know each other, you guys should be a team picking your situation, even if it is a free for all.
So
You don't
at
get a
least
room,
if
and
one
Kara
of
gets a
them's
room.
there,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, you go get the room, whatever.
Sure.
And
sure,
then let
sure,
it be
sure.
a free for all and let your friends be bitches to each other. For girls, most of the time, I'm like, no, don't worry. Like, I'll be fine. As
Mhm.
long as it's not like you're shoving 4 girls into 2 bunk beds and like one person's in a king
Tough
bed.
to do. Yeah.
Just make it equitable and everyone have like a decent, like, 3 feet of space horizontally to spread out in a bed,
I'd
whether it's
say-
a twin or a king.
Yeah. With girls, you can probably get away with 2 on a queen. Guys, definitely 2 on a queen.
Yeah.
Guys, like in a pinch, like 2 brothers can sleep in a queen bed and probably be fine. But like, you don't want to be that tight with like a Randy. No
Dude,
offense.
Will
fuck
had
is
to
that
go.
supposed to
Will
mean?
slept in. They did this, and it was like again a free for all. And him and his friend went and picked out the bunk bedroom because it was a queen size bunk, and they're like, okay,
Oh.
great.
Oh, that's cool.
I in my ski trip the last
Do
couple
you know how many
years-
people shared that room? 4. It was 2 dudes
Oh,
on the. It was
That's a
Will and
lot
his best
of-
friend Jeff on the top bunk, and then his other 2 friends on the bottom bunk.
that's a lot of meat in a bunk bed.
Yeah.
We had at this fucking ski house we've been at in Utah the last couple of years, 2 king bunk bed. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And we had 4 dudes, but we were all super comfortable.
Yeah, I mean,
It was
yeah.
insane. I've never seen anything like it. Shouts to
I
Brighton,
truly
Utah.
put me in a twin bed. I don't care. I would honestly rather be like, I'll be in a twin bed by myself.
I'm really kind of with you on that.
Then,
If
like,
I
a
have a
queen bed.
guaranteed
Same.
like there's 1 twin on one side of the room, 1 twin on the other side of the room, totally fine with
I
that
don't care.
arrangement.
Yeah.
That's why if you're going free for all, Randy's probably familiar with this rule, and you're like bachelor party, you always sprint to like the 3rd best room because
Yeah.
you know people are going to go. So, groom's got the best room. 2nd best room is going to kind of be fought over between a brother-in-law, credit card guy. I'll go 3rd best. If that's 2 queens, kind of like on sides of the room, great. If it's 2 twins, fine.
The other thing you need to think about for girls specifically is the bathroom situation.
Ensuite bathroom situation.
Yes. So this is a great example. We went on a girls trip. There's 5 of us. At the time, 3 of them were pregnant.
Oh,
So 3 of the 5 of us. And I was pumping. So it's like everyone's got some sort of
Pump up,
motherly
bitch, yeah.
situation happening. And there were 4 bedrooms, but like 3 rooms that had an attached bath. And then
Yeah.
one that just like was whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would rather share a room and have my own bathroom and like share a bathroom than like be
Mhm.
walking in and out of like, you just have to think about that with girls because girls got to get ready.
Yeah.
You also probably, depending on how old you are, may have a pregnant friend or a friend who's pumping or whatever. Like giving them privacy is like probably
Paramount.
necessary.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one's going to fault you for making room assignments because that takes the anxiety out of it.
Yeah.
And then you know what to expect. And you're not like, your friends aren't like freaking out, like, okay, well, who am I going to room with? Whatever. So I think you can go a bunch of different ways, but I think at least making pairs and then maybe even going as far as making room assignments.
Yeah. I don't think you should feel guilty at all for taking the best room. That's as the bride, like that's the rite of passage. You've probably been on a bunch of bachelorette parties where you don't get the best, like that's just welcome to your time in the sun.
Right.
You get the best room this time.
The other thing I was going to say, it can be kind of awkward. Like it's easy to like email out like, here's the hotel room situations. These are the room blocks. Here's who you're with. But if you're in a house, you're obviously not going to be like Sarah and Melissa, master bedroom 1. Like you're not going to do that. So
yeah.
what you can do if you're planning on assigning rooms is you obviously get some sort of bachelorette party favor, gift, etc. And then you like get there before and like place them on people's beds. Cause that's what we did in Cabo. We gave everyone like Tervis tumblers that had their names on them. And we like put shit in there, like sunscreen and candy and something else. And we like put them on each person's like bedside table so that they got there and knew where they were supposed to go.
Right. That's a pretty good idea.
And then there's no question of like, well, I'm going to actually take this room. It's like, well, bitch, you're in the room over there.
Yeah.
Your Tervis says so.
See, I'm in an interesting situation that I just got invited on a bachelor party, but I'm clearly not in the wedding party. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm the first invite outside the wedding party. Like they had the group chat and they were like all that. So I kind of already feel that I am, as not part of the party, that I'm going to be on a couch or somewhere else. Like I don't feel like, even though I'm on the bachelor party, I'm not part of the party. It's like, but I'm kind of like already in my head being like, I'm not getting one of the best rooms. But I don't know how that goes.
Because you're not a groomsman.
Yeah. I mean, there's some sort of rank
the hierarchy
vibe there, but
I'm also first come, first serve. Like if I get there Thursday, I don't want to take one of the best rooms, but also like if someone's not getting, like a couple people aren't getting there till Friday, it's like, well, I'm not just going to leave a bed there. Like that's not being used.
You get a bed.
Just take
that's
a bed.
The perk of showing up early. If you don't have assigned rooms, again, that's why I think I like taking the anxiety out of it. Because then there's no like, shit, I'm going to get there late Friday because I had to work and now I'm like getting the bunk.
Yeah, I'm with it. Have fun.
What a treat.
Hey, Mail and Crew. I know you've touched on moving to a new city before, but I'm looking for some personalized advice. My husband's residency is finally coming to an end this summer, and we're leaving the city we have called home for the last 5 years. We never thought this was a city we'd ever move to or grow to love, which makes the decision to leave that much harder, but I don't see us staying here in the long term. We've not finalized our specific town, but have decided on a general area. My husband is eager to finalize and sign a contract for his job. I'm terrified of committing. I know nothing is permanent, but moving now involves my 1-year-old and dog, plus a whole house of stuff. Any tips on how I can feel better about making this leap and starting our lives from scratch?
So she's averse to change.
Not a big fan of a change. And sounds like their life is much different from when they moved to this current town.
Right.
Did she fall in love with the place? Because she made it seem like it's harder, but she said that like she knew that it wasn't.
It sounds like they like it now, but they're not going to stay.
Like the town, but they know it's not a long-term situation.
Gotcha.
I think, right off the rip, one, you're bringing a family. You're sort of bringing your own fun wherever you go.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're trying to meet, a significant other. You're not trying to find a job-specific situation. You're not trying to go out all the time. You don't need to be closest to the fun district. You have a family.
Yeah.
1-year-old, a dog, a husband, and a white picket fence is probably more the idea than a 2-bedroom apartment above Randy's favorite bar.
Yeah, I think normally we're answering this question of like people who are going and know no one.
Like post-grad kind of vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. And I think obviously literally like even moving like half a mile away from our old place to our new place, like gives me a sense of anxiety. Like when we did it, I just remember like being bummed that we were leaving, but like knowing it was the right call.
Sure.
And I think that is always going to exist. That anxiety is always there because as human beings, we're pretty averse to change in general. So like you've now created this new norm in the past 5 years and you've added aspects to it, a dog, a child, that now like it's not going to be the same as moving was 5 years ago. But that is one of those things that like you just have to get over. Like, and I don't mean to say that like callously, like if moving really gives you horrible anxiety, like that's probably worth looking into with a therapist. But I also think like this is very common, right? Anytime you're literally if you're moving like down the street, it's still anxiety producing. But I think focusing on the stuff that you can control and that like you're looking forward to, like for me, when we moved, it was like, now I get to like start over and like put shit in my house where I like want it to be and like get new stuff and like pick some things that like excite you about it.
100%. That's one of the most fun parts about moving is you get to reset your decor. You get to reset, and it's expensive, but that's sort of how you kind of have to tell yourself it's going to be worth it because you get to design this new space. Maybe you're upgrading square footage wise or adding a new room. You're like, oh, I have a den now or a dining room that I didn't have before. For me, it's like, is there a scenario where you rent in this area to see what you think of it? Maybe I know it's obviously adding another move probably sooner than later, but it also gives you a ripcord if you really need to get out of that certain area, right?
Yeah. I also moving at this point, like hire movers, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
I totally agree with you. Like I moved with a 3-month-old baby and a 2.5-year-old and a dog. Like moving sucks. It's gonna suck, especially if you have to like go cross country. What I am a little bit confused about here is like they have an area, but like I don't know if they know anybody in the area, and like is that producing some anxiety? And like, do you know the area? Is this like, or is this like a fully brand new place, which is fine either way, but like each of those has its own challenges.
Oh, yeah. What it sounds like is they are looking at, say, like Atlanta, and they're saying, let's buy a house in Atlanta. Let's move there. It'll be good for my husband's job. And he's going to sign his contract and we'll be dialed in. And that's giving her like, now I have to be there for 15 years.
Right.
And that's the anxiety. Like, what if we get that first step wrong and now I'm locked in forever?
And I think people who are planners, like I am, often get that like worked up and like the unknown, and then feeling like you've like made one decision that's going to impact the rest of your life. And then you have to remember that like everything is temporary.
And she says it too. We're going to jam it into your head that you can switch things once you make a move. You can pick a whole different city if you want to.
Right. The other thing, and you already kind of touched on this, but if you're a little bit anxious about moving somewhere and like not having friends, or maybe it's like you don't work but your husband does, and you just have your kid and your dog. Again, the 1-year-old is the key here because making friends as an adult is like infinitely easier when you like have someone
with
whose
a
kid is your age.
and or a dog.
Yeah.
Like, you have a dog park, you have eventually preschool or daycare or whatever sports it might be, like
sports. Yeah. Like when you have a 1-year-old, they can do like mommy and me classes. That's how you meet people.
The one where they toss in the pool and kids float, like boom. What's that called?
Swimming?
Infant swim resuscitation.
Infant swim rescue.
Yeah.
ISR. Swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always, we also talk about this a lot. It's like there's a certain level of like apprehension when you make friends as an adult.
Oh yeah.
That you do, like you lack the confidence that you had when you were 10, when you just like went up to somebody and you're like, cool, I have that toy too. Let's like vibe.
Right.
You know?
You lose the golden retriever. Don't lose your golden retriever, Sally.
But I'm here to tell you that I have recently made like a very like totally vibing with an adult new friend now. That sounded like pornographic, but what I meant is like I have a friend that like has entered my life in the past probably like 6 months that we're like have become really fast friends. And it's once it's the same shit that you did when you were 10. You just like maybe the topics are a little bit different. Instead of being like, oh, like I like Barbies, it's like, oh, cool. Like we both like hate this person, you know? And then you just bond over shit like that. And then now you're like texting all the time and like hanging out at each other's houses. Like,
wow, look at you.
I know. It's
Making good friends. I mean, that was like the
it's
hockey
mostly like
squad.
mostly what we're bonding over is like just like taking early birds and
Ooh.
to avoid our children.
Okay.
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
kind of.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounded pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. I think this is like, it's hard to tell specifically what she's asking about, but I think that there are.
I feel like she's got a good situation going. They like the place they're at, and it's scary to envision your life somewhere else, totally new from scratch, with the potential for being locked in for however long if you do buy a house.
Yeah.
Scary, understood. But she's like, how do I mitigate that fear and risk? Well, you could rent if you want. You could go and visit and research and all that stuff, but I'm sure you're doing. You could line up a place you live near a yoga studio and a daycare and a pool and whatever you want to do. Like you can create that life without having to go just live it blind.
Right.
And there you go.
What sucks too is this is not one of those things where it's like, personally, when you have some big change looming and I'm like, just rip the Band-Aid, just rip it so that you can be done.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to say one thing, which is when you do it, dive into it. Don't wade into it.
But I think the problem here is that like clearly the residency's over in the summer.
Yep.
So they'll move in the summer and she's got 6 months to like really just have some mental gymnastics about
Dial
this.
it in, yeah. So dive in.
Yeah.
Jump
just
in.
Go for it.
Move to Austin. Shoot. Sally's got a budding new friend group that you can be a part of.
Probably not. We're pretty mean.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
I do have to
That was a
introduce
joke.
you to my friend and her husband or fiance.
We'll see. I'm totally kidding. I was just
Damn.
joking. I'm joking.
All right.
Sorry.
She's proving her point right there. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Man.
sorry. I was kidding.
True. What if this poor girl moves to a place and
Did
runs
she
into
has to
people
deal
like
with like
Sally?
a clique of mean girls? No, I say that coming from a place of like, my only adult friends are like friends that I had in college who still live here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that I like see in person because I obviously keep up with a lot of friends
Sure,
like,
sure,
via
sure.
text, etc.
But like going to have
But
a
I
drink.
having now crossed the threshold into making a new friend that we
Wow.
like had, no past like high school, college, post grad. This is
Sad.
just like
Nobody can sit at Sally's table right now.
no one. We're the plastics.
You can't sit with us.
You can't sit with us.
No, you can clearly sit with us because I was sitting alone for years. Okay, so
Oh man, you want to do the next one?
yeah.
Randy and I will come and sit at your table.
Thank you. I'm in a weird mood, I think, because I'm just so tired. Like
Let's go. Let's ride
things
with
are
it.
getting weird.
Let's
Okay.
ride with it.
Hey, my girlfriend said we never do anything spontaneous and that I have to keep to my schedule. It's not that I'm not flexible, but if we go anywhere kind of nice, I have to give her approximately 2 hours notice to get here to get ready if we have a reservation. Okay. Did I read that? I have to give her
Just- we
2 hour
gotta
notice
do
for her to
some
get ready.
Grammar
Got it.
touching here, but we get the point.
Okay. So last minute reservations are kind of out of the question since we are both going to be late. Even if they are last minute and book way in advance, we'll still be late because she takes hours to get ready. Then I get yelled at when I tell her we need to leave and that I was rushing her. Seems like I'm spending a lot of time waiting for her to get ready. Seriously, does it take that long to get ready? We are just grabbing food and drinks. Okay.
Like this guy wrote it in the car on the way.
I think he did, because he kept saying here, but I think he was saying her. Okay.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is the girlfriend takes too long to get ready. It stresses him out clearly.
and
it
she
bothers
also
her.
wants him to be more spontaneous, but he can't be spontaneous if it takes her that long to get ready.
Right.
How long does it take you to get ready?
I am a reformed late person
Okay.
because when Will and I first met,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the joke of like my friends and my whole family is kind of like this, but it's like, I'll be there in 5. And then it's like, you haven't left. Brett knows because he was the
I
first
did.
person at our Thanksgiving by like 2 hours.
I was. Despite multiple
Brett
siblings.
was the only person there, and all 4 of my other siblings didn't show up for at least an hour and a half.
Multiple siblings telling me when they were going to arrive. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll be like 15 minutes after that. No problem.
I think this has gotten, and I have gotten way better because of Will.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
Will was like
Just
not going to tolerate it. Like,
deFries.
not that Will he's not one of those like we have to show up 15 minutes early, but like he wants to be on time.
Right.
They say this, there's two people, they marry each other. It's the person who gets to the airport 2 hours early and the person who rolls up while the plane is boarding.
Mm-hmm. You're the plane is boarding.
I'm the plane is boarding. Okay. Yeah. That has changed because I'm with Will. And for me personally, it wasn't worth stressing him out. Sure. Like we got into fights like this where I'd be getting ready or something. He's like tapping his foot. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's not worth like you just being so anxious about it. Like we'll just go. So we have each slowly compromised because he knows that there's no way in hell I'm showing up 3 hours early to an airport in my life. But I also know that he will get stressed even if we're taking like a flight to Dallas. So like we got to meet in the middle.
Okay.
Part of that.
So you run on reservation time. You have a 15-minute window. You're good.
So this is what's funny. Now that I have children, that has like slid a little bit, mostly because we can't both get ready at the same time. And one of us has to get ready and the other person has to take care of the kids and then we get rushed. So normally now we're more like a 5 minute late, like true 5 minute late versus like I'm staying at 5 minutes late, but I haven't even actually left my house, which is how I used to be.
Got it. Okay.
That's how I was all of college, all of post grad. Then when Will and I met, I became an on-time person. Mm-hmm.
And now we've slid into...
We've slid a little bit.
But kid mode is different.
Kid's different. Yeah, but comparatively to like our other friends and specifically family members, Lily and Drew specifically, we are mostly on time. We'll typically be the first people in our family, even with children present.
I remember last year when I was also the first person there previously, that you guys were second.
Yeah.
Or somebody else was there because they were making something, but I was early again.
Well, and it's different when you have a kid because it's like you like time stuff and then it still takes 30 minutes because they're throwing a tantrum about whatever. Anyway, we were like this for a long time. It's going to take her, like you probably just saying to her, like, I get really anxious. Mm-hmm. I am going to try to be better of like being okay with being late. Mm-hmm. But like, I personally don't find the like utility in being an hour late to something. Like when we are supposed to be there, they're going to give up our reservation or we have, the show starts at whatever, the movie starts at this time. Like, that's how I was raised. Like, how can I help you to be ready on time? And there's just people that exist like that. Like, unfortunately, you're either going to have to make peace with it or this is such like a issue that you're just never going to work.
Call it off. Yeah. Is the 2 hour getting ready for like a, wedding's one thing, but like we getting ready for 2 hours to go to Applebee's?
I can get ready for something at this point in probably 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Give me 15.
And I mean,
shower included.
Different if I have to wash my hair. That adds a lot of time.
It's different between guys and girls.
Yeah,
for sure.
Shower and get ready. For me, we're looking at 15 to 20.
I can do my hair and makeup if my hair is dry in 30 minutes and dress.
There you go. Let's rock with that.
But like,
that's rushing.
That's really
that's rushing.
That's
45 minutes is a comfortable time zone.
You're sit on the couch with a glass of wine. Reservations at 7. You're in the shower by 6. You're in good shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have friends like this though, where they like curl one individual hair for 4 minutes each, and then they pick up a blouse and they stare at it, and they set it down, and then they walk away, and they go get something, and then they come back to it. Like,
and then there's a reel that you have to watch.
And you're just like, this is nightmarish.
Yeah, come on, let's get it moving. And I understand that's if you have all the time in the world to do that, have at it. But it's the outfit 1.
Do you start lying 3. To the girlfriend about what time things are actually at?
Oh, I've done that for sure. Hi, babe, how long does it take to get there? Oh, like 30. No, it doesn't. Well, we need 30.
Yeah.
I have a better lie here. I think you guys are having good advice out there, but I have a way to game the system.
Okay.
So
hit us,
do the regular dates,
Randall?
Reservation, all that. But the spontaneity, if you want
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. This is what you
Almost.
do. You leave it a mystery of what you're going to do and say, hey, we're going to do something. Go get ready. And so the whole time she's going to get ready, you didn't have anything planned. You now have 2 hours to figure out what you're going to do.
Randy.
And that will distract yourself.
Okay.
So you're not
So
being
you
so
have
worried about
time
what
to go
she's
figure
doing.
something out.
Exactly.
And you're basically, okay.
So you're putting yourself pressure on yourself, and like then you're not getting mad about she's taking too long because every single time she takes longer, that's more time for you to figure out what you're doing.
You're questifying things.
Exactly.
Which is, have you seen this new thing?
No. To what?
If you, this girl on TikTok or Reels or somewhere, said she basically like solved male psychology
Okay.
in one go. Here's her theory. The more you give your boyfriend or significant other or husband quests, the more likely he is to do something. Right?
We like completing tasks. We like completing quests.
Say there's socks that are left on the ground or shoes that are left in the same spot all the fucking time.
Okay.
You can turn that around and say, hey, like, why are your shoes there again? Pick up your shoes.
Right.
Being like, if you put those shoes in this spot, it like unlocks something else. It's not like a reward system. She said it was.
I'll figure out her ad so people can watch it. But it was pretty good.
She's like, hey, like instead of being like, can you bring ice cream on your way home? She goes, I would be really happy if I had ice cream later on. So like, kind of like gaming his brain into completing a quest.
If I go get her ice cream, she's going to be happy. I've gotten the reward of completing the quest of getting her ice cream. It's like yeah, I get that. I
didn't explain that well, but it's basically tricking men's brains into completing quests. Is the way to make you happier.
And the way that I did my thing that I was saying, just don't do anything with reservations. Like just do anything that's you can show up, so you don't have to be stressed about going. But I think this is the way you could do it.
Okay, yes, Randy, that's a great point. Spontaneity.
It might blow up in your face.
I think if you have like events you have to be at, like a wedding or a dinner reservation, or you're going out with friends and like all your guy friends are like, hey, cool, let's go watch the game at 7. You just say we got to be there at 6.
Yeah.
You just lie.
Move the goalpost a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously that's not always going to work. She can like see the wedding invitation, but there's a toast before the wedding we need to be at.
Oh yeah. Jim told me about the toast.
Yeah.
Guess what? You'll be there on time.
This will inevitably fix itself in 2 ways.
Okay.
They're going to either drive each other up the wall about it and end up like fighting and breaking up about it.
Yep.
Or they will slowly start to compromise, because that's the biggest. This is one of those ingrained things in people that they are that way because their family was that way. Yeah. If you think about it, like the people who are like on time sticklers, their parents were like that.
Yep. Coffin time.
My parents were like the opposite. Like shit's like my mom still, when my mom babysits, I lie and I'm like, I need you at 1 and I really need her at 2, knowing that she'll be late. And it like kills Will. But over time, knowing that it like really made Will anxious, I just like slowly started getting ready earlier, or like more efficient at it.
I've had to switch I've had to go the opposite way. It's like a social faux pas to show up at the party time. Yeah. Like if the party's at 6,
that's fucking
I used to show up at like 5:56.
No, please don't.
With a glass of or a bottle of wine, and been like, hey, and everybody's like cleaning things or setting things up.
Don't
and
come to the party on time.
I end up setting up with them. Yeah. Like Randy's bachelor idea. Because I was like on time, and when I moved down here, I wonder if it's a Texas thing.
Brett, what's your fucking deal? Don't show up on time.
Yeah, no one actually wants you there. Like you need to be there at least 15 minutes late.
Right, and so
maybe
now
it's because we're close to Mexico. Isn't that the whole like?
This was a Midwestern thing too. You don't show up on time. Like if you show up on time, you were showing up way too early. I showed
up on time for social events. Yeah, and I'm the first one there all the time. And I'm like, okay, well, sorry, I'm punctual.
No, I mean, there does need to exist a friend like that, because if no one shows up on time to Matt's El Rancho, then no one's getting a table.
I'm the designated survivor at Matt's.
See, we are that with our family, and Will's like, I refuse to do it. we've stopped. And that's, you just start realizing that is like the time management is such a big thing that you take away from your parents and like siblings and whatever, like whoever you grew up around, that is how you interact as a human for those first like few years post grad, etc. And then as you gain a partner or a roommate or whatever, and they have a totally different like ethos about it, is when you actually start compromising on that. Because honestly, like it used to kill my friends in college. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. But it's different, like getting ready in college as a girl, because you're just like, oh, like this is fun. We're pre-gaming.
We can
We're like
show up to
listening to
Pike
music, and
whenever.
we're like also gonna
to Coldplay.
Yeah, and like I'm taking shots to Coldplay, and you're like listening to music and getting ready, and like you're walking around and you're watching TikTok and you're doing whatever. Versus like now there is utility to what I'm doing. Like I am curling my hair, I am putting on mascara, I am putting on clothes, I am leaving. Like there's no time to sit around.
No dilly dallying. Let's rock and roll, Sally.
The other thing I'm going to say, if you are in a couple that has children and you need babysitters, this is something that has now changed my life in the past year. I typically would tell the babysitter come 15 minutes before we're supposed to be there.
Okay.
That is not the move. You make the babysitter come 45 minutes before you're supposed to be there, and let them take care of your children so you can get ready.
Oh, so you build in a little like, mom's still here, mom's getting ready, but I don't need to be like, Fritz, Charlie, what are you doing?
Because, and that was hard for me because like both my kids are pretty like clingy, especially around people that they don't know as well. But that gives them time to like adjust, and it gives you time to like curl your hair without somebody like hanging on your leg.
Sure. I like that move. Yeah, and then eventually they start to know the same babysitter well, and then the babysitter gets there and they're like, "Oh, see ya! Like we're gonna
turn on a movie while I finish doing my shit." 'Cause that is the argument that Will and I get it now. Is like that the babysitter comes, I'm not ready. I'm also trying to give the babysitter directions on what to do, and then we end up being late because I still have to get ready, and I'm like in a bra with like my hair halfway done, telling the babysitter what to do, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
And that 15 was never going to be enough.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. That's a good call.
This will fix itself. It will, because people grow up and they start getting better and respecting other people's time.
Yeah. Right. That's the biggest thing. Is like, time is not for me; it's for thee, and we have to respect each other's punctuality.
And there are people who will never abide by this, and if that is a real red flag, deal breaker for you, then it is what it is.
A real, By the way, last thing I'll say is if she's saying, maybe just be a little more spontaneous on the other side of things too. Maybe pop in while she's getting ready, give her a little kiss on the neck or something. Maybe that's what she wants in spontaneity.
She wants spontaneous sex, is what Brett's saying.
That also could be the thing.
Say it with your chest, Brett.
She's looking for you to make a move spontaneous.
I don't know. Maybe
at some point.
She just wants to be treated nice. Brenna talks too much was the for the quest thing.
Brenna talks too much.
Yes, just look that up on Google.
Brenna talks too much.
Cool.
Hey, Sally and Brett. This question's mainly for Sally. Solely based on experience, the job and female experience. I just experienced a 5-week chemical pregnancy, which I didn't even know existed until now, and I'm gutted. Some context, I'm 33 years old. My fiance and I have just started trying, and we got pregnant quickly, which I realize is something I should be grateful for. Still, damn, the early pregnancy loss has hit me pretty hard, especially as we're eloping in the next 2 weeks with our families. It's a lot to handle emotionally before our small celebration. Truthfully, I don't even feel like I should be mourning the loss of the baby since I only knew I was pregnant for about a week. I feel silly. It just still feels like a lot. My question with this is twofold. One, do you have any recommendations to frame this for the coming weeks so I can enjoy my wedding and not stew on this? I'm trying to just buck up and move on, but easier said than done. Two, my OB was honestly incredibly disappointing in her response when I asked for advice on managing this and moving forward. She gave me a cold answer about canceling my first ultrasound, and that was it. Based on your professional experience, do you have any recommendations on moving forward in a way that's good for my health and in trying again? Thank you.
So can you explain what a chemical pregnancy is? Is that just like early miscarriage?
Also asked that.
Yes. So a chemical pregnancy is basically when you get a positive pregnancy test and your hormones are reaching levels that would be similar to you being pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
but you actually never have like a gestational sac. So
Okay.
so every like pregnancy is a little different, but normally the loss is before like
There's a
6 weeks
okay.
because you like miss a period basically. Take a pregnancy test, your hormones have spiked in the way that would mimic a pregnancy, but then you actually never continue that hormone, like, because you basically are checking your estrogen and then like it should be like rising astronomically.
Okay.
Whereas like it rose enough to give you a positive pregnancy test and then it stops because there's no actual gestational sac
Okay.
or embryo that's like lodged in your uterus that
Okay.
is going to continue a pregnancy. So there is not a baby or fetus or embryo even there.
Mm-hmm.
But you miss a period, basically.
Got it.
is
So
what a
all
chemical
signs
pregnancy is.
point until you maybe get a period again or go to get a first ultrasound or whatever it might be.
Right.
Okay.
Right. A lot of times people find out because it's like they miss a period and then they get a period a week later
Okay. Got
and
it.
had a pregnancy test that was positive.
Okay.
So a couple of things. Number one, I'm really, really sorry for your loss. What really bums me out about this question is that she qualified it. And I feel like as women right now, and Randy and Brett, one day when you have partners who are trying to get pregnant or friends who are trying to get pregnant, you will understand the absolute heartbreak it is to have a pregnancy loss.
Yeah.
And I think now probably I would say 5 to 7 years into like my friends starting to have kids, we are more open about miscarriages and chemical pregnancy and fertility issues and things like that. Whereas like when we were 28, it was like very secretive. We felt like, don't explain, don't complain, whatever. Where you felt like you have to keep it to yourself because what she said, and this is like what I really hate, is like, I don't feel like I should be mourning the loss of a baby since I only knew I was pregnant for a week. Of course you're allowed to mourn that. Like you had this positive pregnancy test and you like envision this life of like in 9 months from now, you're going to have a baby. And even if there was no embryo lodged in your uterus or like you weren't forming a placenta or whatever it may be, like you had this future that was like taken away from you the next week. So don't qualify yourself and feel like you can't mourn or grieve something that happened. I think, and we've like talked a lot about, well, maybe not we specifically, but I feel like in general on social media, like the past like couple weeks, given what's going on in LA, there have been a lot of stuff about like how to talk to somebody about grief. And you two know about this. It's like,
Sure.
You don't say to yourself or to other people, but like, don't tell yourself, well, like, at least I had this, at least you have your health, at least you have your things, at least you're still young, at least you got pregnant, at least you got whatever. Like you were like one of the first people who taught me, like, don't say like,
I'm so sorry. Or
like,
how can I like
just
whatever.
like, be like, that really fucking sucks.
Commiserate.
That was horrible. Like what a, like really awful ordeal to go through, and like I'm so sorry, and like this, like that fucking sucks. You are allowed to say that to people. You are allowed to say that to yourself. Like you don't have to put all these feelings in a box just because you were pregnant for a week. You had a life taken away from you that you thought you were going to have.
Right.
So that, I think, again, has come with age and experience of like dealing with grief, because up until like everyone in this room has dealt with grief, but like when you're younger, you haven't. So you don't know how to deal with it until you're going through it yourself.
Right.
And I think as you get older, your friends get older, et cetera, and you actually experience grief, it teaches you like, okay, this is what I'm should feel, and what not even should, but like I'm allowing myself to feel, and you are allowed to feel whatever you want. So feeling like you have to shove it into a box and then make yourself happy because you're getting married is not something that I would condone in the first place. But I just want to start off saying that because I think that when you experience pregnancy loss, it's usually pretty personal. She probably hadn't told anybody besides her fiance at this point because it's so early. And feeling like you can't talk about it or it wasn't real because you didn't have an ultrasound, it is bullshit.
You shouldn't qualify anything by that.
So let yourself feel the feelings, number one.
Yeah.
I think this is really tough because you're like are trying to be happy and you're trying to focus on the positive. And I think anybody who's dealing with grief is dealing with that all the time. It's like, I don't want to like sit here in a pit of despair
and stew on things.
Right. But also like sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you just need a day or a month or whatever, whatever the timeline may be for you personally to like be a pit of despair.
Acknowledge, as somebody who can certainly speak to it, sometimes you just acknowledge it and let those waves like wash over you without trying to put up a wall to them. And you just wash and you cry and you think about that life that you could have had. With my parents, I think about the life that I could have had all the time. And sometimes I just let myself do it.
Yeah.
Because it sucks and it's sad. And sometimes you just need to. And then the wave subsides and you're back to it.
Yeah.
It's harder than or just putting up a wall and be like, nope, not going to go there right now.
Yeah.
And stopping it. Because the more you do that, the more you develop this like gristly aversion to grief and this wall, and you seclude yourself and you become like, let it happen.
Right. Wash
it over you. And don't qualify, like Sally said, trying to put it in this box of, well, somebody had a miscarriage at 3 months is different than me. Like, no, you guys both, everybody loses something.
Right.
And you can't rank it, right?
Yeah.
It's your personal loss. So feel it. Tell people about it. I think is probably what I would want my significant other to do in that situation, and have people feel it with them.
I think that was my next point is like, yourself best. What is going to like make you feel okay? I am a person where I would need to share, like probably with my mom, probably with my sister, but probably anybody who is going to be at the elopement and be like, hey, I don't need your pity right now, but I do need you to know that like this has happened. I'm really bummed about it. If I seem like I'm not like hunky dory for the next 2 weeks, that's why. But you know yourself best. Like, is your mom going to be like really over dramatic and like make it worse? Then maybe like wait. But if you know that like these people all understanding what happened is important, then I think telling somebody to commiserate with, to like sit there with you when you're bummed.
Totally.
I mean, you have your fiance too. I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is that, we're getting better about women expressing themselves and talking about miscarriage and pregnancy loss and things like that. But we don't talk about the partner's mourning either. And like, maybe your fiance is not the one who physically went through it, but he's also still
he envisioned a life too for his
lost a baby. So like, not that, I mean, I'm sure she's doing this, but like check in with him, see how he's doing. Like, what is going to make you better? Like, how are you handling this? Like, do you think telling your dad or your brother or like your best man who's going to be like your best friend who's going to be there is going to like help you get through it? And if that's the case, like, cool, let's do that. If you like, if this is something that you don't want to tell anybody, also that's fine too. Like, let's just come to agreement. I think letting yourself process the feelings and also being open to both sadness and happiness, right?
Of course.
Like, don't feel like you're like, oh, I'm so excited about my wedding, but now I don't feel like I should be happy about it because I also have this sad thing happening in my life.
Don't limit your happiness potential because you should like, oh, I should be grieving right now.
Right.
That like understand where you're coming from there, but you're going in what should be the most fun, week or so of your life with your family, with your fiance. Enjoy the hell out of that and let yourself have feel feelings
and don't feel guilty one way or the other. If you're not having like the best day of your life, that's okay.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, it's okay. That's probably the best I can do without like being a grief counselor.
Sure.
And there's a lot of other like resources out there for pregnancy loss and grief and things like that that are probably better suited to this specific conversation. The second point that she made was about like kind of the medical aspect of like what to do now. Again, small point here, your OB brushing you off is like not good.
I was going to say, they should be some of the more like
now I'm going to
bedside manner.
give like my OB is like the most amazing human alive, and I love her, and she's one of my really good friends. But some of these people are really, really busy, and I'm not qualifying this either. I'm just saying like there are times. I remember the first time I met her, and I was like she was so like almost like sterile and like not callous, but like not caring. And then it was like a very weird first meeting because like honestly now she's like literally the person who like holds my hand and like tells me I'm amazing and like pats my head and like that's what I need. Give two things. Give maybe that person some grace and know that like maybe they were having an off day or that like they're, you know, maybe they're reverting back to like, I'm just like need to give her steps to follow.
Sure.
Instead of holding her hand. You again can judge the situation best. If it like really turned you off of your OB, then think about getting a new OB.
Yeah.
If you're like, okay, let's just see how the next appointment goes, and you go back and you're like, these are my concerns. You know, I was really upset, and they don't like empathize with you and like sit there with you and go through it, then like that's red flag, like time to move on to somebody else.
Sure.
Great time to poll your friends and be like, did you like love your person? Did you hate them? What's going on? Etc. Read reviews. Like people are pretty open, especially about birth, like whether or not they liked their doctor. But all that being said, unfortunately, the like absolute truth is that 1 in 4 pregnancies is going to end in a miscarriage.
It's crazy.
Right.
How I'm 30. I had no idea how many pregnancies result in miscarriages. I had just being a young guy who will, you know, I don't have to go through a pregnancy physically. I've never had a fiance, wife. I've never had it. Like, it's just crazy how not open it was. I would have said 1 in 100.
No, it's 1 in every
crazy.
4 pregnancies. So 25% chance. And I say that to be like, the statistically, most women are going to experience some sort of miscarriage. Yeah. So sometimes when you're getting medical professional help, they're just like, here's what we're doing. Like it can sometimes come off as like very sterile and like callous because they're just like, okay, you're a statistic. We're going to follow this protocol and whatever. And given the way that Western medicine is right now, specifically in the United States, we have, this is a whole different fucking podcast, but like have gone away from like being able to like be a bedside person and like have to, you know, meet quotas and et cetera, et cetera. That's just a whole other societal situation. But if you don't have another good experience with your OB, like get someone new. Yeah. Because pregnancy is so personal, and if and when you carry a pregnancy to term, other stuff can go wrong, and you want somebody who's going to be in your corner. At 33, most OBs, most fertility specialists are going to say, if you don't get pregnant in the first 6 months of trying, then it's time to seek a fertility specialist. Okay. In my opinion, you are not wrong for seeking a fertility specialist at any point in your journey. Sure. I have friends who like literally were like, I feel old. I'm going straight to the fertility doc. We're going to run the gamut of tests. We're going to do stuff. Then I had friends who like tried for 2 years before getting anybody involved. It's like, you obviously have had a positive pregnancy test, but that's something that from a medical advice standpoint, anytime you talk to a new doctor or a fertility specialist, whatever, all of these things need to be presented to them. So I've been off birth control for this long. It took us 2 months to get pregnant, quote unquote. I had a chemical pregnancy because that's all data that they want. I personally, after one miscarriage, would go see a fertility person. Gotcha. or book another appointment with my OB and say, where do we go from here? You're absolutely okay to like keep trying. And if you get pregnant again, awesome.
Great.
If you have another situation, then that's, in my opinion, involve a fertility specialist. I'm talking about a gynecologic endocrinologist because these are people who are specialized in getting people pregnant. And unfortunately, since we don't get pregnant at 14 anymore, which is like biologically when we're supposed to get pregnant,
That's crazy.
the older you are, the like more
things can go
you got to
wrong,
be
yeah.
aggressive about it.
Gotcha.
And I would say to all of my friends, being aggressive up front is going to pay dividends versus freaking out, or not freaking out, but being worried that like something might be wrong and then just trying for a year because you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you went through that.
Me too. Good luck moving forward, and congrats on getting married. That's awesome. Let's do this last one, Sally, real quick.
Okay.
We'll get out of here. We need some recommendations from you. Okay.
Okay.
Back on a kid heavy episode.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brett and Sally, planning a long weekend in Austin, Texas, with my wife and my 1-year-old. We visited a lot without a toddler, so looking for some fun things to do with our kid. Best places to eat, recommendations on where to stay, etc. We love Pine House and have gotten most of our favorite recommendations from the pod and other washed pots. Kid-friendly Austin.
Okay. It depends on when you come.
Okay.
But I think
Temp-wise, obviously.
temperature-wise, there's a lot of stuff to do outside. And like I'm like, what am I even going to tell this person to do? Because honestly, there's so much stuff that I would just like do with or
Anyway.
without a kid, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Metz is an example. Bolden Acres is a great spot for kids all over the place there.
So some of the biggest heavy hitters for restaurants or like places to hang are going to be any brewery in Austin is going to be pretty kid friendly because most of them are in outdoor spaces. There's always like children running around and then like food trucks and breweries. What is the one that's like down south that I'm trying to think of?
Meanwhile Brewing Company is a fantastic place to take
Tons
kids.
of children all the time.
Yeah, it's like playground, right?
Playgrounds, like
Yeah.
yeah.
There is a Bolden Acres now that's up north on Burnett that like has a huge playground and pickleball courts, etc. Any of those outdoor breweries are going to like be your best friend. Very easy to take kids to. Other people have kids there.
Yeah.
It's a free for all. Any Mexican food restaurant also going to be child friendly. I would say for the most part.
Lupe Tortilla is my favorite.
Matt's, Lupe Tortilla, Maudie's. I have taken my children to all of these places. I have watched Fritz literally dump a bag of chips on the ground and the waitress be like, I'll get it. Because I'm like freaking out, like trying to clean it up. They're like, no. There's like 70 other heathens over here just like throwing shit at the walls. So it's fine. Places like that are going to be great. Honestly, though, it totally depends on the demeanor of your kid.
Okay.
At 1, I'm like, anywhere outside is going to be fine. Like go out, sit outside of Perlis. Who gives a shit?
Oh, yeah.
Like they're a
'Cause they're
1-year-old.
just kind of stroller bound and we're chilling, right?
Honestly, when we took Fritz when he was like 10 months old to San Diego, we like brought him everywhere because it didn't really matter. Like he wasn't walking yet.
He's not like a 2.5, wants to do everything, get into all kinds of stuff, running around, talking, like want to go play.
Yeah. Central Austin, specifically downtown, is going to be a little more difficult, I would say, only because you're like in the actual city and it's less like outdoor space to run around. Obviously, Zilker Park is awesome.
Great spot.
Like
run around.
There's tons of parks in the city, little playgrounds in the city. I mean, literally just like Google playground.
Yeah.
And there's going to be tons. I wish I would have done that when we would like now that we have 2 kids. That's like the first thing I Google when we go somewhere. It's like, where's a playground we can like go to?
Love that.
Because there's tons all over the city. I think staying again a little bit north of the city or a little bit south. And I'm saying like
stay out of central-ish, like
don't
downtown.
stay at the JW Marriott downtown. That's going to be like a kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, it's not a pain in the ass if you like want to walk around in a stroller and your 1-year-old's going to be chill with that. But like you could stay on South Congress and probably like still have a great time with your kid.
100%.
And you're going to still be in the thick of it. Or you could stay a little bit north. Honestly, one of the places that we take Fritz and Charlie all the time is Home Slice.
Oh,
the North Home
so
Slice, because they have this like little green area that's covered in turf, and it basically looks like a skate park that's covered in turf, and like kids just run around. The issue there is that, like, again, he's one, so he's probably not walking, and there are like straight up 14-year-olds sprinting around to like knock over your kid.
It's true.
Littlefields tacos and coffee, like right off of Mopac and Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
Great place for kids. Always packed in the morning. There's tons of kids around, so like other kids to play with. People take their kids to the Thinkery, which I have not done yet. But shouts to Will's sister Betsy, who got us a membership there. That's like a kids museum. I'm like trying to think of what we send Fritz to do. I mean, you go play putt-putt.
Great putt-putt scene around here.
Honestly, do people take their kids to Butler pitch and putt?
You know what I've seen is like dads will take their kids with mom, and mom will sit and hang and have a glass of wine while dad goes and gets 9 in with like a buddy or something else.
I mean,
and
people will take their kids to Lions.
well, if your kids say your kid's like 4 and he can walk and no problem walking 9, I've seen like a dad go out with a couple clubs and let the kid hit a couple putts kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's probably a couple years away.
I mean, a
here,
1-year-old though, you can like strap to your chest.
Yeah.
Your wife can walk around.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be a great time.
And
Actually
like,
walk around Butler.
Yeah,
pitch and
Butler, Lions. Like if you're into golfing, you're outside. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
What's that putt-putt place that's right there too?
The dinosaur one? Peter.
Is it
Peter
still
Pan?
there?
Yeah. For now.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
I honestly, Austin, I feel like is actually a pretty kid-friendly city.
Yeah.
They're
definitely.
like minus like
Kid and dog for sure. You can kind of walk into pretty much
because the
anywhere.
weather's nice. You can be outside,
Yeah.
and like a kid outside is like it is what it is. Like
Mhm.
I wouldn't go to like.
La Piscina.
I mean, honestly, I would go to La Piscina with a kid. I'm saying like I wouldn't go to like Uchi with a kid.
Yeah. Kind of the quiet, intimate restaurant scene.
Yeah,
Probably
like,
the only
like
one you're like not
my like
really.
favorite restaurants in Austin, I would say, are the Uchi group or like Jeffrey's, and like I wouldn't go to either of those with a kid. But
Fair.
like
Go to
everywhere else,
Carve.
honestly, I would bring kids to Carve.
Yeah, absolutely. Kids go there all the time. And-
There's so many like Amy's Ice Creams and Phil Ice Houses that always have like playgrounds and stuff too. That's a
Totally.
good place to go.
It is
Hat
pretty
Creek
kid-friendly.
also has
Oh,
a phenomenal playground
yeah,
situation.
Hat Creek is a good on the move lunch spot.
Depends on. I mean, if it's warm enough, you could like even freaking swim.
Oh yeah.
You can walk the trail if you bring a stroller
Mm-hmm.
or strap them to you.
Rent a boat, do little ski shores. Kids running
Ski
around that place all the
shores.
time.
Yeah,
Really,
ski shores kind of out there though.
It's out
Unless
there.
you're like,
It'd be cool to rent a boat like in Austin and boat out to ski shores. You kind of
yeah,
cut
but if
off
it's just
that
you
drive.
and your partner and your kid, and like one of you is not driving a boat, that's like a whole
Yeah,
situation.
it's a
If
bit
you're
much.
if that's like what your vibe is, then yes, ski
Pot
shores.
committed.
is-
If you need a babysitter, Randy's your guy.
Nope. Absolutely not. It is funny that like the whole brewery with playground, I was thinking like this seems to be a thing that dads and like moms can go do, but like and drink a beer while your kids play. But if you just brought a 6-pack to a park playground, I feel like you have a problem. But it's the
Yeah.
Oh,
same
you're
exact thing.
you're on a list.
It's the same
Absolutely.
exact thing.
You better
but
have a child there.
Yeah,
Golly,
it's
Randy.
it's just a funny thought that it's the same exact thing, but for some reason it's completely different.
Sure is. Anywho,
enjoy
good episode
Austin.
today. Enjoy Austin. That's going to do it for us. Sally, please subscribe, rate 5 stars, review, tell a friend about the show. Hit the hotline number 888-362-MAIL. Or you can write in at the link in the Twitter bio at Mailin Podcast and in the description of this episode. Sally, where can the people find you?
Sally deFries on Instagram.
Ooh, Twitter's gone.
I honestly never check it anymore.
I got you. I am
Never
Brett
had a
Merriman.
TikTok. RIP to TikTok.
Yeah, sad. Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on Twitter, Instagram, really wherever.
Are you gonna get a red note? Is that what it's called?
I've seen Red Note, Red Book, Jiao Shu. I'm probably I haven't been on TikTok in years. So.
Should we start one?
Rick Talk. Randy and I are trying to make a men's TikTok where we just do DIY videos.
Wow.
Brett's trying that.
Anyway, that'll do it for us. See you guys next week.
Bye.